So there's a few things I've done already. And depending on what you're using us for, some of these tools, and again, we covered this last week, some of these tools here on the admin page, they have their own, call them content blocks. If you're familiar with building a website, most of the systems use that same sort of terminology. If you want to add something to a page, they give you a bunch of different blocks as options, like widgets perhaps. And as soon as you basically click to add it to the page, it automatically shows the data or shows the content from one of these features. So they're essentially features that are tied in to the website builder that make it really easy for you to add certain bits of information. So it might be your document locker, it might be your photo gallery, it might be your event calendar, it might be your news feed, it might be your rankings, might be anything that most of the things that you can or will use on the club admin side of things are relatively easy to add to the website. I mean, very easy if it's one of these blocks. So it's one of the advantages, before we get into it, it's one of the advantages of having your website built into the SportyHQ ecosystem is you're only having to update in one place. So essentially your website will stay dynamic, right? The information will keep up to date, keep refreshing, without you actually having to go into the website builder. All you have to do is make sure that the information in the various features, whether it's the personnel section or you add a new photo gallery, whatever it may be, as long as it's been done in Club Admin, it will automatically reflect on the website. So definitely one of the big advantages of not having a third-party system. Of course, you just got the one login, but the main thing is that you're only having to update the information in one place. So we'll see that in action in just a second. So again, I've not really done anything. I may have actually already gone to domain setup, but we'll just do that again quickly so you can see. But let's pretend, we are starting from scratch. So we can just see how quickly it is to get a basic website up and running. We'll take a look at basically creating new pages and adding content to them, organizing the menu, some of the additional functionality that you can, depending on your level of web development, HTML, CSS, that sort of stuff. We can help with that stuff. But today, we'll just focus on really using the template that we provide you out of the box, how to make changes to it, how to create new pages and show various bits of information on it. And then, we'll go from there. We'll check out the booking calendar, of course, embedded in that. And we'll see how easy it is to do. Actually comes out of the box. So now that we've set up the booking calendar, again, you don't need to go to your third-party website. You could here. We've got this website integration option. Basically gives you the code required to create a SportyHQ booking calendar from your settings here in a third-party website. So it is possible for that particular feature, the booking calendar. But for most of the features, it's that benefit of the website being tied into the SportyHQ ecosystem that just makes it easier for you. So website, the section here, you can see you just got two options. We've got the builder, so that's the back end. That's where we set it up. That's where we create pages and we manage the menu, that sort of thing. And then domain setup. So first thing we need to do is we need to find or create a place for this new website that we're going to build today. We need somewhere for it to live, somewhere for it to exist, that we can go and check it out on a domain so that we can, view it as we build it, that sort of thing. Obviously, when the time is right, we can switch it from the temporary domain that we're going to create right now over to the domain that you own. It's really simple to do. We just provide basic instructions that you log into your domain registrar, update your name servers within a couple of seconds, couple of minutes, depending on propagating around the world. The changes will take effect. Everything runs through our Cloudflare for you. So we take care of the hosting, the HTTPS, all that sort of stuff. Literally all you got to do is get yourself the domain that you want, or if you already have it, once you're happy with the website, you literally just log into your domain registrar portal, except follow the very basic instructions we provide, and then boom, your domain will now show the website that you built in SportyHQ. So simple once you're ready to switch over or to go live. Quickly, website domain setup. So we can just clear this out. So when you get here, just be empty. You only need to do this top line. So what we're going to do now is we're creating a subdomain of sportyhq.com. That's where your website's going to reside. So let's just type in, what's the name of the club here? Webinar Club. Webinar Club website. Doesn't really matter. And then when we're ready, you'll come here and you'll put in the actual domain that you want. Let's say squashclub.com is the domain you have. You come in and put it here under domain, and then that's how the mapping, that's how the system would know, okay, we're going to put this website, the website that we're building right now, on webinarclubwebsite.sportyhq.com. We're going to have that display at this domain. So that it's that simple. This is the temporary site basically, and then this will be the permanent one once you've either purchased a domain or you've updated the settings in your existing domain. Okay, so I'm just going to hit save here with Webinar Club website .sportyhq.com in that top line. Okay, so now we've got somewhere for the website to actually exist, and now we're going to get into it. So website builder. We can actually delete this, and we'll just see what it looks like from the very beginning. I just clicked that earlier just because I was doing some testing. So when you get here, again, brand new club profile, this is what you're going to see. Nothing basically, and a button that says use starter template, which we do recommend. It just populates, gives you like the basic structure of the website, and populates a number of the standard pages that clubs will use. We can get rid of them if we want to, but a lot of the ones out of the box will probably be ones that you're interested in. So as soon as you click starter template, now we've basically got a website backend. We've got this dashboard, as sometimes known in the system, and we've got two sides here. We've got core components on the left, and we've got connected components. So what I was just talking about a minute ago, these features that we have on the club admin page that automatically will display in the website at the click of a button, they're just listed here so for quick access. So if I wanted to jump straight into sponsors, I've actually gone through these earlier. Sponsors, I created a default photo gallery with a couple of pictures, a document locker with one document in it, one basic form, a personnel with one president, basic structure. So again, you don't have to use all of these. You don't have to display them on the website. But if you want, very quickly, you can just jump into any of them, add in the information that you want. So for example, for sponsors here, I created 4 different sponsors: a gold, a silver, potential sponsor. So they've just got this generic your logo here. So if you want to advertise for new sponsors, perhaps. Governing body sponsoring this club, so you go Squash Island. I've got my own club logo, which Canva did for me today, and then just SportyHQ. So just to see that our sponsorship sort of widgets, content block, whatever you want on our website, shows up to 4 in the standard versions or the standard views. So that's why I've just put 4 sponsors in. But if we go into, like I said already, I've gone through most of these and just added one thing. So we've got a very basic folder here, different sports on SportyHQ. Same for document locker, same for a form, same for personnel. So we can take a look at them in a sec. But basically, the structure of the website is created now at just from hitting use starter template. But depending on how easy you want to make it and how much information you want to display easily on the website, and again, that it will keep it dynamic as long as you're keeping it up to date in SportyHQ, I would suggest you just run through the connected components and add in information where you can. The more information, the better on the website. So we're going to look at the left now, the core components. The main 2 places you're going to spend your time, if you do have to spend time, again, once you set it up, it should be able to take care of itself mostly, would be menus and pages. And that would typically be if you want to make a change, you go into the page. If you want to add a new page to the website to display some new information, you would create the page, and then you would add it to the website by going to menus. So pages and menus are the main 2 spots. Website settings is similar to those base booking settings that we just went through, in that you'll go through it once. You're going to upload your logo. That probably doesn't change very often. You're going to upload your address, your social media channels, all that stuff. Most of it doesn't change. So we should just be able to go through the settings once, and then be done with that page. So that's why I say it's basically pages and menus. Snippets, that will be for adding in your own code snippets if you want to make further changes or further additions to the website that don't come with our out-of-the-box template. We'll very briefly touch on that, but we'll keep it nice and easy from the template that we have in the system and see how far we can get with just that. Files is just basically a record or an access point for anything that you do upload to the website. So whether it is documents in the document locker, or whether it's images to various different elements, anything that you upload to your site, you'll be able to get through this file section. Redirects we can ignore. Duplicate site, if you wanted to do a second language, if I hit duplicate site now, I just get two of these sort of like website dashboards, as we call them. So two sets of core components, two sets of connected components, and a little menu. But then you'd be able to basically turn the second one into whatever language you want. And then just the fact that you have clicked that duplicate site button and you've got these two sites coexisting, when you go to the website and take a look at it, you'll see a little toggle at the top that you can switch between the language flags. That's how you obviously do it. But that's basically it. When you hit the duplicate site, it adds a little toggle on the website, and then you can switch between the settings of the website, the pages, the menus, everything will be the same. But obviously for the second website, once you've duplicated it, you'll have to go into the pages and update the language, update the text. So, and yeah, delete website. So again, basically what we're going to focus on is pages and menus. We'll take a quick look at settings first. Okay. So the first here, first section, website details. Yeah, we can give it a different name if we want, club website or just club site perhaps. The theme, we leave that as a default Canyon because that's our theme. Language, again, we're just going to stick with English, but if you wanted, you create two sites, and one would be English and one would obviously be whatever it is you're trying to have as a second option. And then the home page, well, these are all the default pages out of the book, which we're going to, out of the box, which we're going to take a look at in a second. The standard would be to have the home page as your home page, so we'll leave that. If there is a page that is more interesting and you have a very basic, let's say, home page, and you don't want to use some of the news and features that would typically go onto a website, maybe it is a better option to, or it could be a better option to have the landing page, when you get to the domain, to display something else. Maybe it's specifically a league website. So you might want to have the league stats page as the default homepage. But yeah, for purposes today, we'll just leave it as the standard homepage. Okay, so theme settings. Header logo. So I did create that basic logo that we saw already here. So I've just got it here on my desktop, just a very basic sort of generic squash logo on Canva earlier. So I'm just going to upload that just to make it change. Generic blog image. That would be if you started using the blog right out of the bat, but you don't have pictures to upload, you're just doing text. Perhaps you'd wanted to show the club logo as well. We've already got a few news items uploaded, so we don't really need to worry about it. Custom CSS, again, if you're looking to style, we'll take a look at the template in a second, but if you're looking to style it further, make changes to how it looks, the color, font, any footer, header, anything like that, you could put in your own CSS here. You can speak to us if you're not that way inclined when it comes to sort of web development, and we can help. But again, we'll just focus on the standard template today rather than doing too much additional sort of custom work. You got the basic colors of the theme, which we'll see in a second. If you want to change it, go to Google, pull up an AI tool, just ask for the hex of a different color. I actually use a tool here called Colorzilla, as you can see. And basically it says pick color from a page. So if you're coming from an existing website that you're replicating in ours, I can just pick, that's not very helpful here, I'll just pick the logo. You can see orange, we'll see color copy to clipboard, and it's got the hash. So I could come here and then put the hash in. Don't need two hashes to do this. So now I'm changing the actual color of the theme in various different pages and menus, just because I wanted to have it as orange as opposed to the default. So it's easy to change. Like I said, the color that you want, either use a extension like I just did, or just Google or AI tool what hex you want, and that's all it's looking for here. We'll leave it there as orange just so we can see what it looks like. Anyway, we'll do the favicon. So this is just the little icon you see up here in the browser tabs. So let's just put that same logo in. There we go, upload. You can crop it if you need to, make a circle, which would probably be more useful as a favicon actually, but it hasn't updated yet because we haven't saved the page, but just the fact that you can see this PNG uploaded here does mean that it's already there waiting to go. Address, yeah, you want to update it from ours. Phone number, same deal. Email address, sure. Right, just your club stuff again, this probably isn't going to change. The copyright text, this goes at the footer at the very bottom of the website. Right now it just says to SportyHQ default, so to webinar club. There we go. If you want to track, you can. Google Analytics, just need to set up an account with them, get the Google Analytics ID and verification code, pop them in there. Then the traffic data will flow through to your analytics account and you can take a look. And then the other thing you can do here with Google is AdSense. So basically you can create the banners, have them display on your site if you want to monetize your site. If you want to customize the header, again, I don't want to do too much in way of customization, but you certainly can. Again, we've got that CSS block up here, but this is just more straightforward because it gets you right into the settings of the header and the footer. And this is just default to 3 different columns. We can be more flexible than that if you want, but again, you could just put in menu items here. Maybe you want to click the link so that you can link it to a different page on the website. That would be a standard footer for you, just to have like a bullet points or just a number of menu items in each column. That would be pretty standard footer for a website. And then finally, the social settings. Just the fact that you put a link in here means that the social icon will show on the website. If you leave it blank, you don't have to have all of these. If you leave it blank, it just won't show. So right now, all 5 are going to be showing as icons when we check out the site. But again, if you don't have them, just delete it out and it will delete the icon. So that's website settings done. Okay, and now we'll go to pages, which is, again, the main place we're going to go to create, edit, delete, anything like that, the actual pages of the site. So these are the pages that were created out of the box, right? So we've got our event calendar. Again, your event calendar in the admin is just where you need to manage it. You don't need to come here and add things to the calendar. It just shows what already shows at the club admin level. We've got a base standard sort of contact us page. That's just based on the address I just entered. So that should already be functional. Photo gallery, a news section. Again, that's based on club admin news and announcements, those posts that we did last week, but you can check out under the membership side. You just had a picture and text. Online bookings, we're obviously going to be checking out today. So we can see our booking calendar in the website. And then these are just other options, again, rankings, leagues. There are more, and you'll see them when we go look at managing a page right now. So it really just depends on how many pages you want to have, how much information you have to display. Of course, you can create as many pages as you like, and then we'll take a look at adding them in just a second. So just so we can take a quick look at the site, we'll just look at our home page here. So we'll go over, we've got a couple options. Obviously, we can delete the page if we're not interested in having it, or we're not interested in it clogging up our page's site here. The settings of the page, we'll see that in just a second when you click create page. It's very basic. You just give it a name, a couple of different options there. And then page content. So this is the one that's key. This is the one that dictates what is going to show on that website page when someone lands on it on the actual website. So for home, as an example, let's take a look at view. That will take us to the, again, out of the box sort of template that we have. So let's take a look at what we got here. You can see that was our color change didn't exactly work because we've got an orange now, because as I use that ColorZilla to get the orange text, that's where, so all the menu items now, the various pages will be showing yellow as opposed to the default. The default actually would have matched this color. So it's up to you. You can leave it that way or change it. But yeah, we've got our logo in. Search is standard. We've got all those pages that we've just looked at. That were created from the template. We've got the 5 icons that will jump to your social media channel. You just got to put the link into that settings page. Next up, we got news and announcements. All right, so example, if we go back to the club profile here and we go announcements, called news and announcements elsewhere. You can see that I've just gone and quickly created 5 posts, and all I've done is put in a title and a picture, basically. Now, as soon as they're here in the post, it goes to the dashboards, right? If you remember, that's the very first page anybody gets to when they log into sportyhq.com. Also goes to your club profile. You can see here announcement section. You can see the 5 that I did today on 25th of March, right? And then it automatically goes to the website. So this is the latest one here, the squash title. And then you can see the previous ones in the section, the slider below here, this new slider. So again, just demonstrating the fact that all you have to do in one area of the platform, which would be the admin page, excuse me, is add those posts in, and then if they get dispersed, like they're visible in various different parts of the platform, as well as on your website. So that's the first thing we see here on the home page. We've got a standard text box here, content box that we can go in and edit. Obviously, this is just some starter generic text that came from the template. And then we've got a sponsored carousel. So you can have as many sponsors as you like. I just put 4 in, and you can see that it's moving along. So these are the 4 sponsors. That if I click them, they'll link to the websites that you put in under the sponsor and the information, that sort of stuff. We have different views of sponsors. So this is just one, again, that we've chosen to be the default of the page. But you can change between a few different sponsor views, whether it's a carousel or a static 2 lines or 1 line, depending on how many sponsors you have and how you want it to look. And then we've got our very basic footer, which doesn't really have much going on right now, just with the copyright. So that's out of the box. So now let's take a look at some of the pages and then how they work on the backside and how we can make changes. So we'll go website builder here, pages. Okay, so let's take a look at some of these. In fact, let's actually create a new page. Let's just go through that process now. One that doesn't come as a default, which let's say is, so there's a personnel section where typical it would be to upload your committee or your board members. You can upload a picture, a biography, any of their social media channels, information about them, as much information as you want to display publicly, basically. So let's just do that because it's already been done in the personnel. It's already been done in the club admin. I just did one example, but we'll get the picture here. Okay, so the template that we're going to use for the page will almost always be the same. The second option down where it says dark top navigation standard footer version 2, that's probably the one that you can easily apply to every single page, and you should be fine with it. A lot of these other ones wouldn't be used at the club level. For example, an interactive coach finder, interactive court finder, the contact us page, well, that's already been set up as a default. That's one of the defaults that we get on the template. These ones, perhaps you might want to play around with at some point, just for the individual pages to look a bit different. There's a full width page with a title, obviously one without a title, and then there's a very bare basic one. That's a full width page, so you can put whatever content you want on it. That's going to fill the whole screen, of course. But there's no title, there's no footer. It's literally just whatever you choose to put on it. So very sort of naked page in itself. And then we've got one here with no header or footer. So it's just another level from that. To be honest with you, you'll be fine if you just stick with our standard sort of page setup, which is, again, those ones that come out of the box for you. But some people do like to play around with some of the individual pages, how they look. So you could add a sidebar search, one column that's just specifically for the blog. So let's perhaps say you might want to play around with full width, title, no title, depending on if you want to have that default sort of title bar in there. But apart from that, let's just stick with the easy one. So standard footer version 2. Top level page, that's just going to be one of the main items that you click from the menu. Otherwise, you can nest them. So you could put maybe you want to have like an about us section, like as a top page, and then ones below that were specific different pages about different areas of the club, for example. Again, we'll keep it easy and we'll just have them all as top level pages for now. And then there are additional search engine optimization if you want to address that more yourself. You can play around with this, meta description, upload a meta image. I won't go into that today, but for those of you that are interested in optimizing more for Google and what have you, you can do so here. So we're just going to have personnel. So this is just the creation of the page, right? So you get that bare bones sort of infrastructure. So you can see now it's been created. It's in order here, so personnel. So now we want to put something on it. We want to display something. So we're going to head over here to page content. And this is basically the main page you're going to go to. Right now, there's nothing on the page, so we can't see anything. All we can see is just add content. And then we've got select content to add. So if you're familiar at all with the website builder, you'll have seen this drop down before. There's 30 or 40 different items in there. Most of them are pretty self-explanatory. If you're looking to display that sort of information, or that you've got that information in Club Admin, you're literally just going to find it on the list. There are some more generic ones that we can take a quick look at. But again, it's more, it'd be more for ones when you're building a simple page, as most pages are on Squash Club websites, to be honest. But it will involve text and image. It'll just be more the structure of how you want it to look. You can split a page up into columns. So it might just be one column, which means you can just write like a big paragraph, from one side to the other. You might want to have an image on the left and text on the right, vice versa, multiple columns. So it really just depends on, the data that you've got, the content that you've got to put in. You can put it in various different formats here, various different content blocks that you can choose from. So you can see free-form text, one column on a white background. That's probably our standard, just a one column white background, right? But then you've got other options like image on the left, text and a button on the right. And then of course you'd be able to upload the image, you'd be able to put the text in, which would display on the right, and you'd be able to customize a button that, would be a certain color and it would link to a certain place, maybe a different part on the website, or maybe your membership sign up, for your club. Image right, text left, 2-column on white background, 3-column, 4-column, 6-column. So a lot of those, again, you just want to play around with depending on whether you're copying an existing page from the existing website of yours that you're looking to bring into SportyHQ's website builder, or whether you just have, the content that you have, the text that you have is broken up into certain sections, and maybe it makes sense to have them in columns, or you want to explore what they would look like in columns rather than just a big, wide, open blank page. The rest of these are relatively self-explanatory. So you can see there's, you may not be able to see actually, I don't know how the recording is going on the drop down, but I'll run through them very quickly. You've got 4 different versions of the news slider. So what we have now, and maybe for this reason you can ignore the news slider options, is that the news slider, the new version, is already on your homepage. It's already tied into the announcement section that we just saw. So as soon as you go to the homepage, you've already got this slider. This is the latest article. These are the previous articles. Right? So you probably don't need to worry about the news slider content blocks unless you want to take a look at the other older versions that we have of the slider. Perhaps if you don't like the fact that it's on 2 different lines, like the latest is taking up the whole sort of landing page, the whole sort of hero image of the homepage here. Maybe you don't like that. Maybe it's taking, you'd rather have other information that they see when they first get to the site. You could explore one of our older website slider versions because it's all packed into one line as opposed to split across 2, as an example. But apart from that, yeah, so we'll leave all those basic ones on whether it's 1 column or 2 column or text left, text right, image right, all that sort of stuff. You can just play around with that depending on what you've got. You can add an event calendar. We've already got that as one of our regular, default pages that have been populated. We can create an expandable list, ranking tabs if you're using us for ranking lists, an embedded PDF, which you can upload in that file section, show here. A personnel grid, which is actually what we are going to click on, because that's, again, pulling in the information that somebody's already entered personnel, which I did earlier for one person. The next one's a form. So we can do that very quickly as well, because I did create a very basic form earlier. Sponsors carousel. So these are the different sponsors option. Again, it's already on your homepage. It's already working with the 4 images that we uploaded. But if you want to experiment with how it displays, you can try a different sponsors carousel or different sponsors way of showing the sponsor logos, etc. You can show a tournament draw. The document folder is already there. The image gallery is already out of the box. Some single image, full width. So just if you've got no text, there's a couple of ones that are just based on a visual, just on a picture that you can upload. And then we've got a couple here at the bottom, more to do with the final, I guess, the small touches, like how the page looks. So you can put a divider in. You could put in a white space if you want to space out a bit between 2 different content blocks you've added to one page. You can add as much content as you want to each page, or you could separate it all out into multiple pages. You can put in a divider. You can put in what's called a container. We can take a look at that one, actually, because it's quite a popular one. It just basically changes it from whatever information you put in. It changes it from full width to like a more contained, like in the middle version, which makes sense on a lot of devices and just to make it look a lot cleaner. And then the last one is core booking interface. Again, that's already been populated for us as a page called online bookings. So yeah, it looks a little daunting when you first get there. You've got lots of different content blocks. A lot of them come out of the box. So you've already got one and you don't need to touch it. You can play around and look at the different versions, but not necessary. You've got some, generic sort of flexible ones that will just allow you to to add in whatever you've got, text and images in the format that you want. And there's a variety of different options that you can play with in terms of columns and where the image or the button or the text sort of sits on the page. And then apart from that, you've just got a few standard options like a tournament draw or to show the club's document locker, show that, and most of them are already been created out of the box. So yeah, there's a few options there. And first time you have a look, by all means do have a look through the list and see if there's anything that might interest you. You basically either got to input the information yourself, like copy and paste it in, or you've got to go to the club admin page, find the feature that it's talking about, and then it will just automatically show it. So let's do that very quickly. Halfway down the list here, it's called Personnel Grid. And again, this comes from the personnel section of admin page, right? So I'm just going to hit continue. I called it board members, the category earlier. You can have multiple different categories show if you wanted to have, differentiate between a committee or a board or volunteers or whatever it may be. And then how many columns, depending on how many people you want to show, you might want to have them maybe slightly smaller and packed 4 in a row, or slightly bigger, and there's just 3 profiles on each row. So we'll leave it as 3 because I've only done 1, so it's going to look a little big. Actually, I probably should have done 3, but I didn't anyway. So we've got the personnel page created now. We've added one content block so far. So now if I click view, it's going to show that one block that I've added, which is a personnel grid. Let's take a quick look at it. Okay, so the information's there. Doesn't look great, but it's there. We've got the one player added in, president position, biography not filled out, read more if the information was there. And then you've got all the different social channels. So adding in 3 would still make the profiles a little big and messy, and it doesn't look very good, right? So let's take a look at some of those additional tools that we have in the content blocks, just to make it a little tidier. So we'll head back to this is just an example so you can see the different content blocks coming on. So add content. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do that container we just talked about. So there's a container start. I'm going to hit continue. There's no preview, so just hit save. Then I'm going to go container end. Again, no preview, so I'm just going to hit continue and then save. And then this is a drag and drop, this orange sort of column here with the arrows. So I'm going to put the container start at the top, which now means that the personnel grid, that board member person with the one image, has now been contained. So you can do it by content block, and you could put multiple content blocks in, so they're all kind of aligned down the middle. Obviously, we just got one, so nice and easy move here on the drag and drop. So now if we go back, oh, it's not on the page yet, so we can't use the menu. So we're just going to click view again. Right, okay, so you can see now that it's been more centered, and that's basically what the container does. It's still a little close to the top, so as an example, let's go back, and then we'll do one more. We'll go content to add, we'll scroll right to the bottom, and we'll do divider, white space, right? So it's going to add a little, and again, you would typically do it between content blocks, but we're just going to do it between the main menu and the block that we just added. So I'm going to add divider, white space in, and then I'm going to move it up to the top. So you see the white space first, and then you see the board member block, right? So now I'm going to go back and view again, and you can see that it's created that white space. So it already looks a lot better than it did when we first added it to the page. So you might want to, or you might sometimes have to play around with the container, whether you want to put dividers in between blocks or white spaces, or remove too much white space if you don't like it. Again, you could style this further with CSS if you wanted to, and change the colors of the background and what have you. But just out of the box, just to get that raw data flowing from your admin page to your website, it's literally just a case of adding the content block. So let's just do this one more time, just as an example here. I created a basic form, again, club admin page forms. So how I want to display that on the website. So let's go create a page called forms. We're going to do the standard dark top navigation version 2, and then we'll hit save, submit. Okay, so where is it? Forms. Now we're going to go across to page content. We're going to scroll down the list. Okay, there it says form. When we hit continue, we're going to see I've only created one. It was just called join the wait list of the club. Let's say you're full. There might be a form just to fill out basic details so you can be added to the club member wait list. Do I want to show the title of the form on the website? Sure, doesn't really matter, yes or no. So the same as yes. And again, we're going to have that same issue, I'd imagine, that the form's going to show, but maybe not in the most clean way. So let's take a quick look. Form. Okay, so these are the basic form fields I added earlier. Again, we touched on custom data fields last week. You can use it to customize your sign-up portal. You can also use it to customize a form on your site. I just did some required fields here: full name, email address, phone number, preferred membership type with a drop-down, and then some additional questions with a submit button, which then with the form information, they get emailed to the admin and also available in the background. But it's, again, I think this could use, a container and maybe a bit of space just to make it look a bit better. So easy enough. We just come back here and let's just add a few more content blocks. So container start, continue, save. Then we're going to go container end, continue, save. And then we're going to go down to white space at the top. So divide a white space. And we're going to add it. Again, we use the drag and drop. So white space at the top, then container start, form container end. And now we can pop back to, there we go. We can see it already looks better. So that's how easy it is to create a page. You basically just give it a name and leave it as the default template. And then it's just a case of what content do you want to show on the page. And it's, if you're moving an existing website, you're going to want to play around with those free form text where multiple columns or picture, image, and whatever, and see whatever the best fit is for the page that you're looking at on your old website. You can download the image, copy and paste the text, take a screenshot, whatever way necessary. But it should be a quick way for you to pull information from an existing page or maybe a Word document that you have, just copy and paste, like I said, same deal, into those different form types. Otherwise, you're going to be picking a content block that is going to be pulling information from one of those features and tools that are in your backend. Let's take a look at the bookings tab, just because we've obviously created a booking calendar today, but just to see how easy it is. So if we're going to go back to pages, so out of the box, again, we've got this one page called online bookings. Maybe we want to simplify that and go to settings and we can just change it to book a court or just bookings. Right, so let's just leave it as that. And then what are we going to show on the bookings page? Well, we're going to go to, excuse me, we're going to go to bookings. We're going to go page content. We're going to go, we can see it's already been added, right? Core booking interface. But if it hadn't been, and this is just a blank page and I was creating it myself, I would just go to add content, scroll down here, the booking list, and then just find it, core booking interface. Right? As soon as I do that, it adds it, which we've already got. So if I click edit, right, and all it wants to do is search for the club that we're going to be displaying. And that's, of course, Webinar Club, because that's where we are, the one we set up earlier. So that means as soon as I hit save, that's the booking calendar that we set up just a few minutes ago. That should be now what we're going to see on the page. And there we go. So yeah, again, out of the box, you're already going to get this online bookings menu item at the top. But that's how easy it is. Even if you didn't, you would just click create, add content block, pick the booking calendar you want to display, and then it's automatically embedded. You can see my history, got different settings here. So transaction history, email preferences, privacy preferences. It's just so that the members can access certain, I guess, popular, critical pages without having to then direct themselves into SportyHQ to find those places to make the changes. And then there's also another widget for the sponsors. So same as the homepage you get automatically gets added to the booking calendar too. Same thing goes for like a team league. I've already added one earlier just as a demo, but it's as easy as I want to add team league. You put in the team league you want to show, and then it pulls the data from your league in SportyHQ into the page. You can pulls all the data, as you can see like here. So finally, that's pages pretty much. Again, play around if it's your first time, look at the different content blocks, but of course you do get a number right out of the box. Excuse me. Okay, so don't need asset times anymore. All right, so let's go back to the club webinar quickly. We're almost there now. Well, it's lots of information. Webinar club. Okay. So club admin page. I'm going to go back to the website builder. Okay, so finally we've played around with pages. Now menus. So what I mean by menu is when we look at the website, we've got our home here, right? And we've got an about us, membership, team league, online bookings, calendar, news, rankings, all these defaults, right? The contact us page, just based on like, the address that you put in on the website settings. So you can see a nice simple form, you can send us a message. The address obviously will display here and then it automatically populates Google. But this is the menu that we're talking about. So when we click menus here, you can see how it translates, right? Home, about us, membership as example, home, about us, membership. This is also a drag and drop. So if we want to make changes to the ordering, it's nice and easy too. So let's change it to membership first and about us last with the contact us as an example. So that will be changed in real time now. So it's got to refresh the page. You can see it's now membership first, about us, contact us. If I want to nest one under another, let's say I'll grab my about us again, and then I just got to pull it out like that. So now I'm sat below contact us, and you can see there's a little space here, which means it's no longer a parent page. It's actually underneath the contact us. Nice and easy. I go back to the web page. You can see it's gone now, but there's a little arrow here. Okay, so that allows us to get to the about us, and that's how you create different menus from your main menu of items here. Depending on how many pages you've got, whether you wanted to make it, how clean you want to make it look. So that's basically the menu item. Adding a new page, well, we've just created 2 new pages, haven't we? So let's call one form, or the waitlist form, or whatever you want to call it. Link to existing page. We're not going to send an external link to another website. All the pages we've created in Sporty. Login toggle we already have by default, so we don't need to worry about that. So yeah, we'll call it form, link to an existing page. So this will show all the pages that are available, and there's the forms one. Active link, so that does mean if you click it, do you want it to do something? Well, yeah, we want it to take it to the forms page. Open in a new window, not generally, like a website you navigate and it just loads the page that you're going to, so we'll say no. And then private. Some clubs or organizations, I guess, would want to make a page private only to the members, which means basically you have to be logged in, which is what that login toggle is, the little logo on the menu that we're just looking at. That allows you to, so if you're not already logged into SportyHQ.com, it would prompt you to log in. Then you would be able to access the private pages. So, if you maybe your document locker or your membership directory, so the members can get contact information for others, you probably want to make those private. It just means that nothing crawling the site or non-members or anyone that's not a full signed up active member of the club is not going to be able to access that information. So just for some additional privacy. But basically, name the form, connect it to the forms page, hit create. Okay, so now we've got it here at the top. So we already know it's a page. We already know it's on the main menu displaying on the website. All we got to do is decide where we want it. So let's put it in the middle here next to news, for example. So we go back to the website, give it a refresh, and there it is, form. Go to the form, and we've got that basic form that we created. So the menus is pretty simple. Like I said, drag and drop, creating a new item. Just make sure you've created the page first, and then it's as simple as hit create, and it adds it automatically to the menu. That will be live right away, and then it's just a case of ordering your menu items how you want. And of course, you can, like I said, nest them below each other. So if you've obviously got too many menu items and you've got this really long band across the top now, then you can take care of that by turning it into submenus. That's very basically it. The template you get out of the box. Again, explore the different pages, explore the different content blocks. We'll show you one more, just so you know how easy it is to make additional customizations. And again, we can help because we have some out of the box that aren't already tied in for you to do it one click. You would do it with here, Snippets. We're just going to create one here. We're going to copy it from another demo site that we already have. And we're going to put in a new footer. So here you put in the HTML. You've got somewhere for JavaScript as well, depending on what you're trying to add to the site. depending on your level of comfort with web development, whatever AI tools you may be using in the future or now. You should be able to put the code in here. We'll just do it as a quick example here. So here we've got somebody that's wanted to move away from our standard 3-column footer. So this is the basic code that they've got in there, and it's also got a basically combined the footer with a contact us. So at the moment we've got the contact us as a separate page, which is that map we just looked at. So this is just basically a custom content block that we have that's not yet available, and we have a few of these. So if you're interested in expanding the site more, we can certainly help. But I'm just going to copy it over to this snippet. There's no JavaScript in it, so we just got that, and that's all we need. So hit submit. Okay, so now we created our first code snippet. Now to have it show on the page, all you've got to do is include this. So I'm just going to highlight it and copy it. Okay. Now I'm going to go back to the club builder. Oh, sorry, the website builder. Then I'm going to go to pages, and I'm going to add it onto the home page. Get into the footer, and it's a new version of the contact us. Instead of having a page, it's going to be a block. So we're going to go to the home page, and we're going to go to home page content. So you can see I've got a few different things here. That a generic text that you could update, the sponsors carousel, free form HTML, right? So that's what we need to add. So let's do it here. Add content. I'm going to hide this one. You can hide various elements on the page if you're testing. If you don't want to delete it, you just want to see what it looks like without it on the page. Trying to figure out some glitches or some how it looks, how it formats. You can just hide blocks easy just with this green red button here. So let's say we want to add that snippet that we just created, right? So just add content. I'm going to find freeform HTML. Hit continue. And then here we're back to that block. And all I'm going to do is copy and paste that snippet in. So it says include snippet 177. That's what we just created. So as soon as I hit save, we've now got here freeform HTML, which is the content block we chose, the snippet code, which is literally just that copy and pasted in. And now if we go back to the website and we refresh the homepage, we should have a block here at the bottom. So there's the footer block, there's the 4 columns that were coded in that snippet. And there's the new contact us. And you can put in obviously the link for your address, which is easy enough, and then your personal, the club information into that block as well, which we haven't done, but you get the idea of how easy it is to customize things further. And again, we can help. So if there's anything you don't like, or you want to change the position or change the way things look, please do let us know. But otherwise, this is kind of what you get just from hitting starter template, to be honest with you. Again, it's still sitting on that temporary domain right now. But when you are happy with the website enough and you've got all the pages you want on there and everything looks good to go, we can just provide basic instructions on switching your site over to, so it's pointing at us basically, and then it will, your existing domain or the domain you've gone out and purchased will then show this new website. So the website builder, there is a little bit of a learning curve. But I've gone through the main pieces tonight. The starter template should make it really easy because it gives you that outline, that structure, the basic main menu, and the pages. So from there, you should be able to make pretty good progress. But yeah, if there are any questions, obviously there's a recording of this. If you've seen something that you just forgotten how to do that I've gone through, by all means. But otherwise, you can always reach out to us for an additional help with the website configuration. Yeah, I've been talking for a little bit tonight, and we've covered 2 relatively decent-sized things, the booking calendar and the website builder, and how to embed your booking calendar into your website builder. So yeah, you can see it doesn't take too long. If you were desperate, if your existing system was about to disappear on you, or you're having serious issues, in a little over an hour, you could put together a pretty basic booking calendar and website. That would be sufficient for your members to interact with and to action most of what they're looking to do. Yeah, that's about it that I wanted to cover tonight. Do we have any questions on the website builder? Again, there's a fair amount of information, a fair amount of playing around, just so you'll get comfortable the first time. But again, one of the biggest benefits is the fact that you can add the content blocks really easy. and you only have to, when you want to make a change, you only have to do it in one place, which will be generally the club admin page, if it's one of these blocks that's these connected components that we call it. Otherwise, you just got to come into the website builder, click pages, and then go into the page content of the page that you're looking at, and copy and paste new text, make any adjustments, upload a new image, whatever it may be, into that page, and it will instantly reflect on the website. So you shouldn't have to too often. Most of it, like I said, just stay dynamic itself, because you're just naturally interacting with the club admin page and keeping the information there up to date, current. Yeah, so that's a booking calendar set up and your website set up. Are there any questions with that before we, next week's going to be the performance module, which is the final piece that we haven't looked at yet. That's going to cover all the competition at your club, your box leagues, your ladders, your tournaments, internal leagues, rankings, that sort of stuff.
Audrey has a question there, Luke.
Yeah.
You got Audrey raised her hand there.
Oh, sure. Yeah, sorry, I can't see. I'm still on the club profile, but yeah, what was the question?
Hi, guys. It's probably a few questions. So
Sure.
Thanks a million. That all looks brilliant. And the system obviously has a lot of functionality. The first thing I wanted to clarify was, do all of the clubs, now obviously not every person within the club has access to the functionality, but do all the clubs in Ireland potentially have access to this functionality?
Yeah, so it's Tim
implementation?
can clarify like what the details of the agreement are with Squash Island and what have you, but essentially, as I know it, any affiliated club of Squash Island gets access to everything that you see on the club admin page, right? So that's our facility management, bookings, website, and performance module, all for free. So it's all covered by the national governing body. Yeah.
Okay. And you mentioned a few times, if we had problems, we could reach out to you for help.
Yeah.
How do we do that? Is there a particular support channel we can use?
There is. We would typically, you can actually see on my screen in the top right here, if you go down to customer support, that does actually connect you with our support portal. So you can go through there. If you're an administrator, then you're welcome to use the support portal. You should hear back same day. But if you're an admin, you can also go to Tiernan at Squash Island directly, maybe if it's more of an Irish Squash Island, question. Or you can email me directly. It's just luke@sportyhq.com instead of support@sportyhq.com. That'll just come direct to me. So if it's a website configuration thing or you're looking to customize something, you're probably better off coming to me direct. If it's a really easy question, or a typical, like I can't log in, I've forgotten my password or something like that, it doesn't really matter if you go to our support portal, email our support, or drop me an email or drop Tina, anyone will, be able to help. So multiple different avenues, but short answer is whether you're a regular member, not non-admin, or admin, yeah, you can get support from us. And then, again, it doesn't cost anything. It's just part of the service.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, no worries.